Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing great. Today's story is close to my heart because I'm going to share an unforgettable experience. My very first flight to Paris. This isn't just a story, it's a journey filled with new phrases, useful vocabulary, and practical travel tips. By the end, you'll feel like you traveled alongside me, and will know exactly what it's like to fly alone for the first time. I know that for many people, the idea of traveling internationally alone can be intimidating. But don't worry, I'll walk you through everything. Packing smartly, handling airport procedures, passing security checks, boarding the plane, and all the little details first-time flyers should keep in mind. My name is Nick, and this trip was extra special because it wasn't just my first flight, it was to my dream destination, Paris. Known as the capital of France, Paris is one of the most enchanting cities in the world. Famous for its romantic atmosphere, rich history, beautiful architecture, delicious cuisine, art museums, high fashion, and of course, the iconic Eiffel Tower. I had always imagined myself strolling along the River Seine, browsing luxury boutiques, or sitting in a charming cafe with a croissant and coffee in hand. Finally, that dream was about to come true. But before I could immerse myself in the magic of Paris, I had to navigate something I had never done before. Flying for the first time. The day started early, and I woke up feeling both thrilled and a little anxious. My first task was to go over my packing list again. Air travel requires careful packing because airlines have strict baggage rules. I had 2 bags, checked luggage for the plane's cargo hold, and a smaller carry-on bag for the cabin. My airline's weight allowance was 23 kilograms for the big suitcase and 7 kilograms for my carry-on. I packed clothes, shoes, toiletries, and other essentials. Just before heading out, I realized I had forgotten my medicine. For a moment, I panicked, but then I remembered something useful. Most airports have pharmacies. So, if you ever forget something important, you can usually find it there. With my bags ready, I made sure I had my passport, visa, flight ticket, and some cash in both dollars and euros. It's always smart to carry a bit of cash, since not every place accepts cards and currency exchange at the airport can be expensive. I booked a taxi, and as the city lights passed by, my excitement grew. I couldn't believe this was finally happening. Walking into the airport felt like stepping into another world. The terminal was bright and buzzing with people. Families saying goodbye, travelers from around the globe, and staff guiding passengers. Large screens displayed flight information, and the air was filled with a mix of voices and suitcase wheels rolling across the floor. First, I went to the check-in counter, showed my documents, and received my boarding pass. My suitcase was weighed and sent off. A quick tip: make sure your luggage is within the weight limit before you leave home, or you might have to pay extra. Next came the part one had been slightly nervous about: security screening. I placed my carry-on bag, phone, laptop, and jacket into trays. Then the officer asked me to remove my watch, belt, and shoes. I hadn't expected that, but when I saw everyone else doing it, I realized it was normal. If it happens to you, don't feel embarrassed. Remember, sharp objects, liquids over 100 milliliters, and even water bottles aren't allowed in your hand luggage. After security, it was time for immigration. The officers checked my passport and visa, then asked a few questions. Why I was going to Paris, where I'd be staying, and when I would return. I answered calmly, and they stamped my passport. With time to spare before boarding, I decided to explore. Airports are like small cities with shops, restaurants, bookstores, and lounges. I wandered into a duty-free store and saw perfumes, chocolates, and luxury brands at discounted prices. Feeling hungry, I headed to the food court for a hot bowl of noodles. Sitting by the large windows, I watched planes take off, my mind still processing the fact that I was about to be on one of them. When my boarding gate was announced, I checked my pass and headed over. An airline staff member scanned my ticket, and I stepped onto the plane. I was thrilled to have a window seat. I wanted to see the clouds and the view from above. The cabin was clean and modern, and the crew greeted me with a smile. I stored my bag under the seat, fastened my seatbelt, and waited for takeoff. The plane slowly rolled toward the runway. My heart raced as the pilot's voice came over the speakers. Cabin crew, prepare for takeoff. Moments later, the engines roared, the ground blurred, and we were rising into the sky. The city below shrank until only soft white clouds surrounded us. It felt surreal, like floating in a dream. As I settled into my seat, I couldn't stop smiling. Just hours ago, I had been at the airport, and now I was soaring above the world. Traveling alone for the first time might feel overwhelming, but believe me, it's one of the most thrilling experiences you can have. Life is full of moments where you grow, meet new people, and discover your own strength and independence. That's exactly how I felt the day I arrived in Paris. The instant I stepped out of the airport, a gentle, cool breeze brushed against my face. The air carried a unique fragrance, fresh bread, rich coffee, and something almost magical. Paris had a certain charm, a grace and beauty I'd only admired in photographs, but now it was right in front of me. I had only 3 days to explore, so I was determined to make the most of every minute. The weather was cool but not freezing, around 50 degrees Fahrenheit 10 degrees Celsius. I slipped into a light sweater and jacket, knowing Paris weather could change suddenly. A taxi from Charles de Gaulle Airport to my hotel cost about $55 and took roughly 45 minutes. During the ride, I watched the scenery unfold. Elegant old buildings, narrow streets lined with cafes, and people chatting over cups of coffee. My hotel, a charming little spot near the city center, was $120 a night and had the perfect bonus: a balcony with a direct view of the Eiffel Tower. After checking in and dropping off my bags, I headed straight out to start my adventure. My first stop was the Pont d'Arts, the famous Lovelock Bridge. Couples from around the globe come here to attach locks with their names and toss the keys into the Seine River. I was traveling alone, but that didn't stop me from buying a small $5 lock, writing my name on it, and making a wish for an unforgettable trip. From the bridge, the Seine sparkled under the sunlight, boats glided by, and people sat along the edge laughing and talking. Next, I walked to the Louvre Museum, one of the largest museums in the world, home to over 35,000 works of art. My main goal was to see the Mona Lisa. The entry ticket cost $20, 18 euros. Inside, the grandeur of the architecture and the endless galleries of paintings, sculptures, and gold-trimmed ceilings felt like stepping into another era. When I finally reached the Mona Lisa, I was surprised by her small size but captivated by her mysterious expression. I lingered for a while, wondering if she looked happy or sad. After an hour of exploring, I headed to Pink Mama, a well-known restaurant serving Italian cuisine. I ordered their signature truffle pasta for $25 and a fresh lemonade for $5. The pasta was rich and creamy, the interior was filled with greenery, pink walls, and big glass windows, making it feel warm and welcoming. In the afternoon, I made my way to Disneyland Paris, a childhood dream come true. The ticket for one day was $75, 69 euros. As soon as I walked in, the towering pink castle and the sound of Disney music brought pure joy. I went on Space Mountain, Pirates of the Caribbean, and the charming It's a Small World ride. Between rides, I treated myself to a Mickey-shaped ice cream, $7, and a hot dog, $10. At 5 p.m., the parade filled the streets with Mickey, Minnie, Cinderella, and other beloved characters dancing and waving to the crowd. It was truly magical. Before leaving, I picked up an Eiffel Tower keychain for $10 and visited Avengers Campus, where I saw Iron Man's suit, Spider-Man's stunt show, and even met Captain America. The Spider-Man ride, where you shoot webs at moving targets, was a highlight. By evening, I returned to the city for the grand finale of my day, the Eiffel Tower at night. Bathed in golden light, it was even more beautiful than I had imagined. I sat nearby, enjoying a warm chocolate crepe, $6, as the smell of pastries and coffee drifted through the air. At exactly 9 p.m., the tower began to sparkle with thousands of glittering lights, and the crowd cheered in awe. Before calling it a night, I took a Seine River cruise for $20, 18 euros. The boat's open seating offered breathtaking views of Paris at night. Notre Dame, the Louvre, and the Eiffel Tower reflected perfectly on the water. The city glowed with magic, leaving me with memories I knew I'd cherish forever. The cool breeze brushed against my face as I closed my eyes, thinking, this might just be the most perfect day of my life. Lying in bed that night, I replayed every beautiful place I had visited and the memories I had created. Slowly, sleep took over, and I drifted into dreams of having just one more perfect day in the city of love. When morning came, I woke up with mixed emotions, excited for the adventures ahead, but also a little sad knowing it would be my last day in Paris. Determined to make it unforgettable, I set out early with a promise to explore a few more places and savor every little detail. My first stop was Canal Saint-Martin, a charming, less touristy gem of the city. I strolled along the water's edge, watching boats drift by while locals sipped their morning coffee on park benches. The atmosphere was calm and inviting, making it the perfect spot to simply breathe in the magic of Paris. I treated myself to a warm Pinot chocolate for $3.50 and an espresso for $2.50 from a quaint cafe by the water. The chocolate pastry melted in my mouth. It was pure bliss. As I continued walking, I unexpectedly bumped into my friend Sarah, who was also visiting Paris. Thrilled by the coincidence, we decided to spend the day together. Our next destination was Le Marais, a stylish neighborhood brimming with boutique shops, art galleries, and delicious food. At a local market, we picked up some cheese for $5, cherries for $7, and fresh fruit for $3. We carried our treats to Place de Vosges, one of Paris's oldest and most beautiful squares, and enjoyed a relaxed picnic, swapping travel stories and laughing over Sarah's misadventures in Rome. We both agreed. Travel is less about the places and more about the unforgettable people and moments you collect along the way. From there, we wandered into the Latin Quarter, one of the city's most historic areas. The narrow streets were alive with music, bookstores, street performers, and cozy cafes. We stopped at the Pantheon, an awe-inspiring monument honoring great French figures like Voltaire and Rousseau. The $12 entry fee was well worth it. Inside, the architecture was breathtaking, and the history was rich. Our literary journey continued at Shakespeare and Company, the famous English-language bookstore. I couldn't resist buying a book on Parisian history for $15 as a keepsake, and I happily lost myself for a while among the shelves. One of our last stops was the Luxembourg Gardens, a lush paradise with elegant fountains, sculptures, and vibrant greenery. Under the warm sun, the park was alive with people reading, chatting, and strolling. I found a quiet spot by a fountain, watching little sailboats glide across the pond. It was peaceful, almost like time had slowed down. As evening approached, we wanted one final, unique view of Paris. We boarded a Seine River cruise near the Eiffel Tower for $20. The boat glided gracefully through the water, passing by illuminated landmarks like the Louvre and Notre Dame. Gentle music played in the background, the air was filled with laughter, and I felt completely at peace. That night, back at my hotel, I reflected on everything I had experienced. Paris had exceeded every expectation. A city rich in history, beauty, and soul. From picnicking in historic squares to gliding along the Seine, every moment felt like something out of a dream. Travel had taught me more than I expected. It reminded me to step outside my comfort zone, to embrace the unknown, and to appreciate the incredible people and places this world offers. As I packed my suitcase, I knew this trip was only the start. There are countless adventures ahead. If you've ever dreamed of traveling, don't wait for the perfect moment. Take that leap. The world is full of stories waiting to be written, and the memories you create will stay with you forever. Traveling doesn't just open your eyes, it opens your heart to endless possibilities. So go, pack your bags, follow your curiosity, and start your own unforgettable journey. The world is ready for you.